Hello, I'm Mr. Rossi.
Mr. Rossi, what you want? Oh, a tree of ice cream cones, a cocoa castle for a home, custard cakes, coffee breaks, holiday world will say. Mr. Rossi, what you want? To drive a fancy rocket car, take a shower with champagne, tuxedo, rococo, break the bank, the casino. Happiness, we believe happiness, over here, over there, over here, over there. Show me what, show me where, show me what, show me where.
Sunshine, sunshine, yellow, sunshine, ocean, ocean, lazy, ocean, loving, loving, someone, loving, flower, flower, lazy, flower. This is what makes happiness. You have more than you can guess.
And a reminder that there's more of the same on Saturday evening here on BBC One at 5:10 when Stuart Copeland, Andy Summers and Sting, better known as The Police, illustrate their music in Montserrat 81. And this BBC video cassette, rock flashback, Deep Purple, California Jam, is now available from retailers.
Tomorrow on BBC One, an exciting evening of Team Disco, introduced by Peter Powell.
You might think you just dropped in on the biggest discotheque in Great Britain. You're absolutely right, you have. We're right in the West End of London, the Hammersmith Palais, and here working out on the floor are 12 finalists who've come through from 5,000 youth clubs from all over Great Britain. Well, it started off with just 12, it gets down to 6, and then 1, and they become Team Disco Champions of 1981. The energy, the ambitions, and the determination can all be seen on your screens. You watch, they'll give you the energy. It's going to be a great night. Join us for Team Disco 81. See ya.
Team Disco, tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on BBC One.
Well, now back to this evening, and in 30 minutes, tonight's the night for Pete Dodds in Seconds Out. First on BBC One, Terry Wogan begins the comedy
that the end is nigh, Rhodesia finished. The Ellises are off to Blackpool.
Had anyone told me 2 years ago that I would have been sitting here in virtually an empty house with these packing cases behind me, I would have said never ever. I wouldn't have thought that this would have taken place in Rhodesia. I'm sorry. And hence the reason for us making our departure. We didn't think that things would go the way they have done, or that things would deteriorate in the manner they have. We were quite happy to remain in this country. We've been here 27 years. My whole life was here. I've had 27 very, very happy years indeed. As you can see, the beautiful surroundings we live in, the standard of living we've enjoyed also. And, well, it's rather heartbreaking to have to give it all up.
Well, I'm sorry I'm leaving. As my husband said, we've had a good life here, you know, and we thought we were here for good, and we just feel now the best thing to do is to go.
Why now?
Well, there isn't any future for us here.
The actress Barbara Windsor is appearing as usual in pantomime tonight, hours after seeing her husband in prison for the first time. Her husband, Mr. Ronald Knight, is charged with a murder in Soho 4 years ago and has been remanded to Brixton Prison. Sam Hall went to see Barbara Windsor today.
Barbara Windsor spent just over an hour in Brixton Prison, handing over a huge birthday card to her husband, who's 45 tomorrow. How did you find your husband?
Well, the only thing I can say about him is the fact that he's marvellous. You know, he's a very brave fellow and kind of put on a brave face for me. And he had a little tear at the end, which is not Ronnie at all.
Then she went to Richmond Theatre in Surrey, where she's appearing in the pantomime Dick Whittington. A week ago, Miss Windsor was celebrating. She'd just been booked for a new Carry On film. Today, surrounded by photographs of past triumphs, and another of happier days with her husband, she told how going on stage helped her to forget what she called the black days of her life.
People have been smashing up. Girls I went to school with have phoned me and written to me. Danny LaRouche just phoned me from Australia and said, if you want anything, you know, just phone me, anything for Ronnie and you know.
And what are your plans now?
Well, I hope to carry on regardless, and I think they made a film with that title, didn't they, once?
When Tony and his brothers came back from the club, all they wanted was a nice bit of grub. What, no meat? What, no meat? How about some nice British pork? Could have had a roast leg, roast loin, spare rib. Feeds a lot for not a lot. What a lot, what a lot, what a lot. Could have had a sweet and sour. Could have had it in a pot. Could have had it spicy. What, no meat? Could have had a cheesy sauce, tomato sauce, apple sauce. What, no meat? Could have had it flambéed. Could have had it lots of ways. How about some nice British pork?
He said, do you want to walk home or shall we take a dog? Two points to Leslie. Back to Lance. Anything to do with your story? No, yours is Daddy Longlegs.
Wait a minute. Or shall we take a dog? Got that one down.
Yes.
Yes, Daddy Longlegs. Now, this is meant for all the fathers in the audience and the prospective fathers in the audience and any of the lads in the back who are sweating it out. It concerns Daddy Longlegs, and it concerns a little boy talking to his rather dignified father. And the little boy says, oh, look, Daddy, there's two Daddy Longlegs. They're kissing each other. Ho, 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 ho. Yes, quite right, boy. Two Daddy Longlegs kissing each other. Very well done. Yes, but I thought you told me the other day about the birds and the bees and all that rubbish. Surely one of them's got to be a mummy Longlegs, isn't it? The other one's a Daddy Longlegs if they're kissing each other. Isn't that right? Ho, 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 ho. Yes, quite right. One's a mummy, one's a daddy. I can't tell from here which is the mummy and which is the daddy, but one's a mummy, one's a daddy. Yes, quite right. Yeah, well, I looked up in the dictionary, and there's no such thing as mummy Longlegs. So they must be both Daddy Longlegs kissing each other. Ho, 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 ho. There they are there. Both Daddy Longlegs kissing. Yes, well, we don't want any of that sort of thing.
It's terrible. It's absolutely.
I'm a bit conservative, really, I'm afraid. But,
why?
Just always have been, you know. Sorry.
Container trains to move waste fuel rods from nuclear power stations for reprocessing. The waste rods are sealed in special containers.
Well, I mean, most of them, they just look at us because, I mean, they just can't take it. It blows their tiny little mind to see something different, you know. They ain't got the ball to sort of change themselves, and so they just sort of, you know, it just blows their mind.
No, they banned us from that as well. Every pub down here we're not allowed.
Every pub in Kingsford.
You know, near the Marquee, all round Surrow, banned from every pub down here nearly. Why is that? I don't
like the thing we call
I just got chucked out of Chelsea drugstore.
Yeah, that's the word. Wait, get this one. It's they think we cause trouble.
Freed Pakistani prisoners being exchanged for the hijacked airliner hostages are turned away in mid-flight by Libya. The sudden and totally unexpected change of mind by the Libyans, who'd agreed to accept the 54 prisoners freed by Pakistan, has threatened what seemed to be the imminent release of the 100 hostages aboard the hijacked plane. There'd been no hint of any problems ahead when the prisoners left Karachi this morning and had their identities and health checked during a stop at Aleppo in Syria. They were already flying on to Tripoli when the Libyan decision was announced and their plane diverted to Athens in need of fuel.
We're now about a minute or so to go before the crash. There was a slight hitch at the last minute because of demonstrators who breached the security fence.
Canberra and the Marines are home.
I don't feel I'm part of the normal run-of-the-mill rat race. I don't want to be, put it like that, you know. I just feel superior to everyone, all the little sheep that are running around out there.
It took about 5 seconds for the debris to settle, There was a slight fire. The next job is to examine the nuclear fuel flask to see whether it has breached the, whether it has struck a leak or not. That job will be done within the next hour or so by CEGB engineers. A round of applause here from the 2,000 spectators who were watching it.
Now with news of tomorrow's panorama, here's David Lomax.
For a month now, Israeli forces have been poised above West Beirut. Down below, under the bombardment, people are dying.
No more war, no more blood. It's enough like this, blood, it's enough like this.
Thousands of civilians have already fled from their homes, but the Palestinian fighters still won't move. If diplomatic efforts to persuade them fail, the Israelis are determined to throw them out.
If you could make it a parallel of a cancer operation, you might have to take a little bit out. It might hurt a bit, but in the long run, you might save a country's life.
People caught in this conflict live under the constant threat of death.
I hate Israel, I hate!
A Panorama team has just returned from 3 weeks inside West Beirut. Our report, Fighting for Survival, is on Panorama tomorrow at 8:10.
If people talk to me, they realise that I'm not what I seem. And also, once you smile at people, little old ladies will look at you and they'll think, oh God, she's going to beat me up. And then if you smile at them, they'll be really sweet and they'll come over and congratulate you and tell you you look nice.
I get on really well with grannies.
Yeah.
It's one of my best people to talk to, grannies. They like me.
Because they think you're fierce at first, and then when you do go up and you smile at them, and they obviously realise that in that smile there's no malice, and you are quite pleasant, really. And it's their illusion shattered.
In the illusory world of the disco, you can be a bank clerk by day and a buccaneer by night.
Dodds in Seconds Out. First on BBC One, Terry Wogan begins the comedy with Blankety Blank.
And appearing tonight on Blankety Blank, Blankety Blank, Dainty, Janet Brown, Cyril Fletcher, Rula Lenska, Paul Daniels, Tessa Wyatt, and here's your host on Terry Wogan.
Oh, you do an old broadcaster's heart good, I can tell you. You're grand people, which is more than you can say for this crowd over here.
And so that was the crash. Engineers will now be examining the wreckage to see if the flask remains intact. We'll be giving you the result of that in our next news programme in 60 minutes at 5:40. Until then, back to the studio.
Well, tomorrow, Anita Brooker talks about Les Grands Baigneurs by Cézanne.
It's an absolutely remarkable sight. From here it looks absolutely wonderful, and the men on board just can't believe it's happening. They keep wandering around and saying, it's unbelievable, it's unbelievable. Somebody just said, it's better than winning the World Cup. I've actually got with me Brigadier Julian Thompson. Brigadier, I don't know whether you'd agree with the World Cup thing, but what do you make of it all?
It's absolutely fantastic. I was struck, absolutely dumb by it. It is amazing. I've never seen so many boats and so many people. It is unbelievable, actually. It's rather tear-jerking, I'm afraid.
Well, you look a little bit taken aback by it all, I must say.
Absolutely. I'm in shock, emotional shock or something.
And this from a man who's just gone through the whole Falklands campaign.
Yes, well, one tends to think of those who aren't here sometimes. So it's fantastic, actually. Quite amazing.
Jim Biddulph watched them go.
It was dawn this morning at Karachi airport before the plane was given clearance to carry the prisoners out of Pakistan. They'd been brought here from all over the country during the past few days, and the authorities were taking no chance of trouble. But despite the precautions taken on the tarmac, there was trouble later on inside the plane when security forces had to put down a scuffle. Some of the prisoners are known to have been unwilling to leave their own country, which may have been the reason for the disturbance. Pakistan is deeply unhappy at being forced to let these 54 prisoners go. The government swore it would never free anyone accused of major crimes, but charges against some of these prisoners include murder and treason. Understandably, not everyone was reluctant to leave. Jim Bidalf, BBC, Pakistan.
Most people would agree that Gina looks like a nice girl, but she's about to change all that.
When I first started getting into anti-fashion or alternative fashion, my reasons were to judge the way people reacted to me, and by that way see if I was interested in knowing them. It was a very good way to find that you only meet tolerant people straight away. Anyone who's totally intolerant is just not going to be interested in talking to you. And also, as a girl, going to nightclubs and dealing with men, it certainly screened out any man that seemed to be just interested to me as a sexual figure. He had to also be interested in me as a person because I didn't look just like a pretty girl.
And red as well.
Well, some truly extraordinary pictures there from our live cameras in Leicestershire. And in fact, we're going to have another look at that crash in slow motion.
And even Rula Lenska, who's managed to fit us in.
Still think you're gorgeous?
Just hang on.
What? I think you're wonderful, Tony.
Oh, good, it's the Lone Ranger. All right, Kimo-sabi. And Tessa Wyatt, you're welcome to... I'm sorry that both of you had to sit beside him, but there you are. We welcome back Paul, who hasn't been with us this year. And God knows how he's crept in this week. Right, it's David and Peggy. Peggy, what's your surname?
Berry.
Peggy Berry.
Yes. Born here, I intend to die here. We've had our mortar attacks. We've got through them. We live day after day with this. And there's no way or place for me to go. This is my home. And this is where I intend to die.
Scotland versus the rest, New Year's Day, the annual bowls match on the greens above Umtali. The players know that the game is over. They look for hope where none exists. Rhodesia stubbornly plays out the myth it has created, a nation alone betrayed by the treachery of its allies, not the obstinacy of its leaders. The lady captain of bowls called us sewer rats. Umtali feels betrayed by Britain.
I fought for Britain. I was decorated. And today, Britain is letting us down badly. But I will not leave the country. I'll stay here until the end.
But your country has got to come in and help us. I don't know how long we can do this alone. Don't know at all. But you don't give up your country.
Last autumn, the club was mortared by Mugabe's guerrillas. The golf course singed. The enemy is breathing down Umtali's neck.
So if you look right for the job, you know, if you look the same as everybody else, the same sort of formal dress, then you've got more chance, I think.
I have had times when I've looked for a job that I purposely toned down, not just my hair, but my whole style of dress. But once you get the job and prove you can work at it, then you should be given free rein within that. And if at that stage I'm told to stop dyeing my hair different colours or something, I'd rather leave. Because I'm just doing waitressing jobs. It's not my whole life, my work. So it's much more important to me that I can look the way I want to. Decoration is very important to us.
And here you have the engine coming down the track. It's going now, I'm told, at almost 100 miles an hour. The engine itself weighs over 140 tons.
The youngest Marine to serve in the Falklands, 17-year-old Martin Tate, was one of the first there. The men yomped across the Falklands, carrying packs heavier than these, and they paid tribute to their recent enemies.
We're 4-5, we took the two sisters, and we were under the impression that there were Argentinian Marines on there.
They were really tough fighters, were they?
Well, they've got a good scrap on. They got some good equipment, and if they'd had a bit more bottle, we might have had a bit of a better fight.
Finally, Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park was the meeting place for a demonstration today against the ban on marches in London this month under the Public Order Act. As usual, the police turned up in vans and cars, the media were there too, but as John Kiddie reports, the event wasn't quite what they'd expected.
I was there, police vans were there, but apart from us, the crowd was rather small. A lone anarchist with homemade placard and milk crates surrounded largely by pressmen. Under the watchful eyes of the law, he apologised for the poor turnout, saying everything was organised at the last minute. However, another speaker, expounding on the meaning of life, managed rather better, drawing a respectable-sized crowd.
I have heard about the attempt to balance...
Our demonstrator made the best of things, handing out his leaflets. But any hopes of threatening law and order began to fade. Finally, he admitted defeat and gave up, leaving his placard behind to carry on the fight.
I'm a civil servant.
And we're getting towards the point of impact.
Altogether, 237 British servicemen died in the Falklands. The Argentines lost 3 times as many. Canberra's captain, Dennis Scott Masson, was with his vessel throughout the 92-day voyage.
Good evening. A poem for W.H. Smith, written by me. Ambushed! W.H. Smith of lots in store. Lovely things like this children's book. And gift vouchers galore. This special offer's bound to please. 80 pence off the maker's list price of their top 50 LPs.
Our little department's sort of known as the Deviants Corner, because no one's really what you'd expect an office worker to look like.
Here's a nice surprise. Morecambe and Wise.
Now that turns me on.
W.H. Smith, a great place for Christmas gifts.
Knockout her.
Is this your fuse box?
Get off.
Well, next week there's a new police series starting. It's called The Bill, and that's on Tuesday at 9 o'clock. But looking ahead to Friday on Central, and it'll be this.
The world's most sophisticated helicopter. Supersonic, invisible to radar, a killing machine that hides in the shadows, armed with the most advanced weaponry. Airwolf, $1 billion worth of firepower in the hands of a maniac.
He's the only one who has a chance to get it back.
Michael Vincent, Ernest Borgnine and David Hemming star in a special feature film version of Airwolf, the start of a thrilling 10-week series. Friday action at 7 on Central.
What are you doing? What are you thinking of? Why do you keep on running, oh running, when all that you need is Jesus' love?